reparations program. Discretion must be exercised with and especially that victims of sexual violence.
Zainab Lojalo said the victims are also demanding to be allowed to decide their fate and for their stories to be acknowledged.
There should be a system in place to ensure that what has happened in the past does not occur again, such as institutional reform. However, revealing the truth, perpetrators should apologize publicly and privately to victims. But in this case, the victims have to have a say if the perpetrator should apologize or not. Sentences and punishment that match the
crimes and civil society organization the opportunity to discuss the policy before submitting it to the ministry.
The discussions will focus on issues of victims' registration, general perceptions about the reparations, which we've already succinctly had from Zainabu, and reparation measures that are responsive to victims' needs, the implementation mechanisms that will reflect the victims' contextual realities in different parts of the country, and the role of the victims and the CSOs in the implementation of reparations. We thank the ICTJ for accompanying us on this journey in so many ways to ensure a victim-centered process and outcome in the formulation and delivery of reparations measures. Since October 2019, ICTJ has been preparing the ground by holding bantabas for victims to contribute to the current programming being undertaken by the TRRC. Through a series of consultations conducted in the regions in partnership with the Victim Center and the TRRC. They have supported women's listening groups across the country, which has greatly resulted in the participation of women in the TRRC process. These listening circles have been documented in a report entitled Women's Experience of Dictatorship in the Gambia.
Head of programs at the International Center for Transitional Justice, Geberi DJ, said part of the ICTJ programs is to contribute to the redress of victims and help prevent such atrocities from reoccurring. The TRRC came into being in 2017 to establish an impartial historical record of violations and abuses of human rights committed from July 1994 to January 2017 and to help respond to the needs of the victims and grant reparations. For iAfrica News, I am Julden Jai.
From the report there on the TRRC and stakeholders meeting on the reparation and reconciliation matters, next we move on to Gambia and Myanmar case ruling, because the Republic of the Gambia has welcomed the order by the International Court of Justice for Myanmar to ensure the protection of the Rohingya Muslim from crimes of genocide. The landmark ruling, which took place in The Hague on Thursday, was in response to Gambia's request for provisional measures in the application of the United Nations Genocide Convention. Public hearing on the case took place between 10th and 12th December 2019, which coincided with the 74th anniversary of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Lisa Singate has more details of that in this report.
The Gambia has welcomed the unanimous decision by the International Court of Justice in taking provisional measures to prevent further acts of genocide from occurring against the Rohingya minority group in Myanmar. On Thursday, the court approved Gambia's request for these measures and for the recognition of the reality that the Rohingya who remain in Myanmar are at the risk. Gambia's case on questioning justice said in a statement after the ruling that it expects Myanmar to comply with order. The ministry further called upon the UN Security Council to fulfill its role in ensuring compliance with the court's order. Meanwhile, the Gambia says it looks forward to pursuing its case against Myanmar to a final judgment of the court on the merits and on damages, in addition to the interim protection of the Rohingya. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Lisa Singate.
Lisa Singate there reporting as you heard, and from her report, next we move on to talk about procurement matters. Because the Gambia Public Procurement Authority this week held training for its officers on the principles of procurement and European Union directives Officials of the Finance Ministry welcomed the GPPA move of upgrading the standards of their staffs, cognizance of the significance of procurement. Aissatou Tamba has more in this report.
Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Julie Cisse, has emphasized that public procurement is an important activity, which is about 60% of the government budget, accounting for $50 million of the national budget. Addressing procurement officers during a training organized by Gambia Public Procurement Authority (GPPA) on the principles of procurement and the EU directives held at the Baobab Hotel in Bigelow, Deputy Permanent Secretary Cisse also explained that research has shown that a transparent and competitive procurement process can easily save between 10 to 15% of the overall cost, translating into $5 million annually to Gambia government. GPPA is created to act on behalf of Gambia government to ensure a transparent, efficient and economic public procurement, provide a fair opportunity to all prospective suppliers by preventing fraud, corruption and other malpractices in public procurement. Madam Cisse further revealed to the participants that the government now intends to implement electronic procurement system, telling them that her ministry is impressed with the role GPPA is playing in the government, given the importance of public procurement.
The government intends to implement an electronic government procurement as part of the public financial reforms and modernization of the public procurement system. This is all geared towards ensuring the country gets more goods, works, and services from each dollar spent from public funds.
Director General Ibrahim Sanyang described the training as timely, saying they are in the beginning of the financial year with warrant and approved budget implementation to start in earnest. According to him, this is the first time that the percentage of the annual budget is being made a single-source procurement method, and it's part of World Bank financial initiative in its relationship with Gambian government.
GPPA thought that it is prudent to facilitate this training to expose and equip decision makers and accounting officers on the principles of public procurement and the EU directives.
Mr. Sanyang also explained that the training was conveyed in response to the 2017 to 2019 statistics.
The least preferred procurement method, which is the single source procurement, is what is the overwhelming practice. The single source plus the restricted procurement, whilst the Act clearly recommends the open tender method.
Since July 2003, all producing businesses and organizations in the Gambia have been required to apply with the Public Procurement Act. The process of work, contract, and services are done through tender in sale bids. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Aissatou Tamba.
That report there by Aissatou Tamba will take us to the break, and we will come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,
na broda mimba Europe Mr. Conte nka bo wol kol kan sai na so ko na mano banta jabo banta tulo ban sai ka bol kol kan anda ka ba office ko na badama bulo mutarin ba ka ta simpla no ko mbatu ngane ta ya kuriye ma ko do banti na ta mano sani tulo ni jo munda be tan la broda man balwo service kalam mun service balwo service ni da furonte mo kalam munda a fela broda ko abitala internet ol aya ba site la woldo balwo.com na wo sajje a apu nga ba download la telephone ol na be sandiro to ni wal na be siri ngala office ko ndama manjar pura ta bank ko kodoki abe sidum office ko daminto ito message so telephone ko no e biti ko be Gambia dawda biti ko babelo so tano dawda yeta fenko tawo wodama yala bari wa service na kamol da han natanyo le kan fijana bro dan ka ko natanyo lo ayo ko
balwo service dinkirala jampo o manken na kolaya ko balwo service al demano kaje ko ale do mor feŋol sang alla dimbaya mole ana lakkanun tewol wato bela ani wad sudum fanan kono balwo service la dinkiralu ani la do kunyolu e be banko karo beto kabirin katon fo koyna nalla fa ko ku ko tan so balwo service la kolto ali commandi telephone la no la melbuko 9400213 7694319 wala 3192870 wala hankabi alta internet oto alila kolu jibe www.baluwo.com.
Welcome back. You are watching the Gambia 24 News Bulletin on Africa TV, and now to the rest of the stories. Alfuseni Ture, a former intelligence officer, on Thursday told the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission that he and others were wrongfully convicted by exiled former President Yahya Jammeh. He was among several other victims who appeared at the commission to narrate their ordeals under the former regime, saying he was arrested along with his father.
Let me do monkey dance.
The instruction he gave was, first of all, let me do monkey dance.
Then now monkey dance, I don't know how many times.
I did that monkey dance, I don't know how many times.
I don't know monkey dance, pass out of market anymore.
I did the monkey dance until I passed out, and I cannot do it anymore.
According to him, while he was at the station, former local government and land minister Lamin Wajuara was also dragging barefooted and looking devastated and shocked. He further explained that he and his father were arrested without placing any charge against them, saying before they were taken to Mile 2 Central Prison, his father's house was raided, but he could not tell the reason.
So maybe 20 or 25 meters alone flagged them in Tema.
That's the time we saw people running, coming towards the vehicle about 20 to 25 meters from the spot where they flagged him down.
So when
they reached our vehicle, they opened the door.
They
pulled down Wajuara forcefully out of the vehicle. They pushed him down on the tarmac. They started beating him there.
So Jeto very seriously.
Then he was seriously beaten down there.
More than 15 minutes.
For more than 15 minutes.
Mr. Ture confirmed that Baba Job was present at the scene of the beating, and Mr. Juara's shirt was stained with blood, and he couldn't even talk because he was completely weak. Abdullah Sane, another witness who testified in the Thursday hearing, said they were charged with demolishing a mosque and was sent to Mile 2 in confinement block 4. Mr. Sane testified that after he left the Mile 2 prison, he was diagnosed with high blood and lost his job and all his lands. He said when they were arrested, they were asked to remove all their belongings, like hats, watches, and rings. For iAfrica News, I am Binta Baji.
Report there on the ongoing hearings of the TRRC. Next, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of the Republic of Turkey is scheduled for the Gambia this Monday, announced the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional International Cooperation and Gambia's abroad. His visit will serve as a reciprocation of President Adama Barrow's trip to Turkey in February last year on accounts of bilateral relations between Istanbul and Banjul. The two heads are expected to review their strategies on strengthening collaborations on all development cooperations at the bilateral and multilateral levels. As a result of a memorandum of understanding between the two OIC member states in 2018, the Turkeys and Gambia Business Association has facilitated several meetings meant to open up markets to each other. Turkey said it is prepared to expand on its investment in the fields of energy, education, health and agriculture in all parts of the Gambia. Gambia, in the other end, hopes to use this opportunity to build on its entrepreneurship and tourism industries as meant to penetrate international markets. The visit of the Turkish president is also coming at a time where Gambia is busily engaged on preparation to host the 2022 OIC Summit on Head of States and Governments. In addition to Saudi Arabia's pledge to support Gambia on its efforts, Gambia will look up to the backing of Turkey for a successful event. From that report, next we move on to matters of Jammeh's victims, because about 2 weeks after the former ruling APRC party demonstrated their call for the return of exiled Jammeh, the victims for his alleged human rights violations are this weekend taking to the street to request for his coming to face justice. The Victim Center, which is coordinating the planned protest, called out the public to join the procession from Westfield to the Alliance Franco along the busy Cairava Avenue, where the petition in line with the victims' demand will be pronounced. As it stands, while the APRC is calling on Jammeh to return as a statesman, the Victim Center sees Jammeh as a potential prisoner for crimes of human rights violations. Binta Baji has more of that report.
The Gambia Center for Victims of Human Rights Violations and the civil society organizations in the Gambia have announced their commitment to take up to the street in what is dubbed as March for Justice. According to the Victim Center, the idea is to pressurize Gambia government to bring former President Yahya Jammeh to face justice for all the human rights violations that have been committed during his regime between July 1994 to January 2017. The center said in a statement on Wednesday that the venue for the demonstration, which was initially planned for Westfield to the Buva zone in Talinding, has now been changed from Westfield to Alliance Franco on Saturday 25th January between the hours of 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tensions heightened on the exiled former president from the end of victims after supporters of the former APRC ruling party went in large numbers to call for the homecoming of Yahya Jammeh. Victim Center described the move as provocative and called on the government to ban the party until such a time justice is attained. In a speech to mark the official opening of the 2020 legal year, Justice Minister Abubakar Tambedu warned that Jammeh will be subjected to arrest and charges of the most serious crime, like any other ordinary person, anytime he comes back to the Gambia. For iAfrica News, I am Binta Baji.
Another protest or demonstration set again this weekend, this time by the victims of the former president Yahya Jammeh. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on this Gambia 24 News Bulletin. But for more on these stories and of course others, you can log on our website on iafrica.tv. Once again, I am Amadou Kante, and thank you very much for the pleasure of your company. Bye-bye.